Hello everyone, welcome to Keen Ear. So this is going to be my entry for Richard McCook's 3-year anniversary contest thing that he's currently running. First and foremost, of course, congratulations Richard on such a milestone. And yeah, coming up with 3 pretty good questions as well, though I haven't said that. The third one I did struggle with quite a bit. But anyway, we'll start with question number 1, which asks to pick 3 artists from your collection and show their best and worst album. Now, what I've decided to do with this is essentially top and tail 3 uh, previous sort of ranking videos that I've uploaded in the past. The first of which is going to be from the Rolling Stones, and as I've mentioned, not just in the ranking video of the Rolling Stones, but in many other videos as well. You know, if you watch my videos frequently, you're probably sick of hearing me say this, but Exile on Main Street is my favourite Stones album. It still is my favorite. In case you're worried, it's changed. It hasn't. It's still Exile Main Street. And my least favorite Stones album I've gone for is Vandal Glare and the red shrink wrap and giant hype stickers. Is this album Dirty Work? So we'll move on to T-Rex, which I know is a bit of a favourite of Richard McCook, definitely a favourite of mine. My favourite T-Rex album is Electric Warrior, non-controversial choice to say the least. And my least favourite T-Rex album is somewhat of a controversial choice I've recently discovered anyway since making the ranking video of T-Rex, and it's Zinc Alloy and the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow. And when I uploaded that video, covering the T-Rex discography, I guess, I got I got a bit of a backlash, I got a bit of stick from various different people, in the comments section. And yeah, I've always maintained that this album. It's a bit of a mess. It really is. It's a messy album musically, and it's an album that derailed Bolan's career, and he never really recovered from it. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised that there is so much sort of well, a degree anywhere of support out there for this album. I've never really seen, eye to eye with it really. Boland's stare is freaking me out by the second actually. But yeah, it's I can't really see what people see in it really at all. I've tried to get my head around it. I've tried to appreciate it more, but it's just a mess. It really is. It's just a total mess of an album. So the next artist I've decided to cover is Queen. I've gone for this very non-controversial choice at all. Night at the Opera is their best album, and I've gone for Made in Heaven as their worst album. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is show 3 albums you have on CD but would love on vinyl or vice versa. Now all of my choices for this question are all CDs that I'd like to own on vinyl. First one is a pretty obscure one. It's from a group called Black Cat Bones, and this is their only album. It's called Barbed Wire Sandwich, and I was doing a bit of research online and just discovered this. I'm not too sure how actually I discovered this album, but it just came up, and yeah, the cover really drew me in. It's so grotesque, such a grotesque cover, and this is a bit of a cult album amongst record collectors, has been for some time now, I believe. It came out on the Decca label in 1970. It didn't do very well, and it's since become quite just a collector's item really for vinyl collectors and vinyl hunters and that kind of thing. And yeah, I'd love to own an original. It's, as you could imagine, it's pretty hard to find, and when you do, it's pretty pricey as well. It has been for many years actually. And yeah, I would like to get my hands on a nice original vinyl copy of this album. You can get it on reissued vinyl and that sort of thing, much cheaper, much more accessible. But an original copy of this is, it's super hard to get your hands on. It's almost borderline impossible unless you're willing to dig very deep in the your bank balance. So the next one I've gone for is Black Sabbath and Master of Reality. Really, any early Sabbath album would suffice really. But this one, particularly the first album, I think this album and the first album in particular would be I'd go for an original vinyl, to get on original pressing because the first album is such a rarity, and such a cool album. It was such a cool album cover and everything. But Master of Reality, as it shows in the booklet, the very early pressings anyway, as far as the booklet explains, comes with this poster, which I'd really love. I think it's a great poster and really nice thing to have. And it's a shame. I'm not too sure actually if the modern day reissues of this album come with a poster, come with the same, obviously a modern version of the poster. It's a shame if they don't actually. But anyway, Black Sabbath is my next choice. The final one for this question is Billion Dollar Babies by Alice Cooper. And yeah, arguably one of the best Alice Cooper albums. And this is actually quite a nice uh, deluxe CD edition of it. Part of the reason actually why I probably haven't bothered trying to find a nice original copy, because I got this, which is more than good enough, quite honestly, with it being a double and everything. It's nicely presented, live album and all that. So yeah, this is kind of good enough. And it's not a particularly hard album to find, an original copy. It comes with a big $1 billion note, the original copy. Or early, Alice Cooper earlier albums anyway were pretty gimmicky. We've got the Schools Out, which turns into like a desk or something like that, I believe. A school desk, and you've got there, and you've got all kinds of little gimmicks that come with them, which are pretty fun. But yeah, I think $1 Billion Baby is probably the funnest of them all, maybe. So we'll move on to the next question, which is the one I struggled with. Show three artists where the best of album is really all you need. And I don't really do live. I've mentioned this before. I'm sure I have. I don't do live albums. I don't do best of albums, compilation albums. Really, at all. It's something I've always sort of steered clear of. It's just something that doesn't really interest me, in all honesty, whether it be on vinyl or CD or whatever. And generally, for me, if there's an artist I want to collect for, what I do is I try and find out what's their best album, what's considered their best anyway, and buy that. And if I like it, I'll buy more, and if I don't, I'll probably stop at that. I don't go down the best of album route, I suppose. So anyway, the album I'm going to be showing, which I think a best of would have been enough, really. I would have maybe appreciated a bit more than a studio album. Maybe, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'm going to be showing this. It's Golden Earring, and yeah, this is like a self-titled album, I believe, or an untitled album. And yeah, they've got quite an interesting variety of music. Golden Earring, the music changes quite a bit. This album actually is surprisingly Jethro Tullish. If you like Jethro Tull, this one maybe is worth checking out. It's almost like a cross between Jethro Tull and the flute. I guess the flute elements is why it sounds a bit like Jethro Tull. And Led Zeppelin's got like a merge of those two sounds. It's an album I believe came out in 1970s, like early 70s it came out. So yeah, it's from that Jethro Tull, Led Zeppelin sort of era. They're definitely, I guess, influenced to a degree by those groups. So yeah, this is maybe a group that they probably do have a number of compilations out there with Radar Love, the big hit and everything. But yeah, they're not a group that I necessarily want to own every single one of their albums. But if I could pick like a couple of songs from each record, I reckon you could probably get a pretty damn good, because there's some good stuff on here. But overall, I don't think it's a great album or anything. Um, the same can be said about this next group, which is an American group called Fanny, and yeah, it means something different in the UK. I believe they're aware of this, but yeah, they're an all-female American rock group who, I believe, years before Joan Jett, and the Runaways and all that, playing their own instruments, writing a majority of their own music. And yeah, I've got a couple of their albums, and this is arguably their best. It's called Fanny Hill, and named after an erotic novel, I believe. And yeah, if you were to get like a couple of songs from, they don't have actually that many albums, but if you were to get a couple of tracks here and a couple of tracks there from their few albums, I think you get quite a good best of, which I would imagine exists in some, form, shape, or form out there. But anyway, the final thing I'm going to be showing, the final record I'm going to be showing to complete this contest submission, I guess, is from Neil Diamond. And yes, I'm pretty certain there's quite a few Neil Diamond compilations, but I've got quite a lot of his albums, mostly from the 70s and into the very early 80s. And I like certain songs from, you know, these albums. And I think if we were to break them apart and put them together into a greatest hits, I think it'd be quite a good little album. But yeah, there's some good stuff on Neil Diamond albums. There's some weaker stuff on it. There's some kind of very cheesy stuff on it. But when it's good, it's really good. And he's got some good material just generally throughout his discography. Really, here and there, he's got little nuggets of tracks here and there, I've noticed. So yeah, that's it for this contest entry. Thanks, Richard, for starting her up and everything and creating it. And you know, congratulations again. You know, I'm making 3 years. You know, 3 years of making videos on YouTube. You know, it takes commitment to keep going. It really does. It does for me anyway. So yeah. Thanks for starting her up, and good luck, of course, to everybody else taking part and all that. So nothing left to say but goodbye.